Welcome back to the deep dive. We're doing something a little different today.
Mm-hmm.
Usually we take a piece of tech, a new cloud platform or a language, and we just pull it apart.
Yeah, see what makes it tick.
Exactly. But today we're taking a career apart, specifically the career of the SAP developer.
It's less of a technical review and more of a survival guide.
That is exactly how it feels reading through this material. We're working from a really comprehensive guide by Bjorn S., and it addresses this very specific, very quiet anxiety that I think a lot of you listening will recognize.
Oh, yeah?
For a long time, being an ABAP developer was, let's call it a comfortable trap.
Comfortable trap is a polite way to put it, but it's spot on. I mean,
Yeah.
if you look back 15, 20 years, the SAP ecosystem was just remarkably stable.
Right.
You could sit in your SAP GUI, pop open transaction SE38, write your reports, and that was it.
You could go home.
You could go home.
Yeah.
The syntax didn't really change.
Yeah.
The architecture was this immovable giant.
Yeah.
You didn't have to learn a new JavaScript framework every 6 months.
Not like the web guys.
No. You could be an expert in 2005 and still be an expert in 2015 without changing your daily routine all that much.
But looking at this guide, that whole era it's effectively over. The walls of that comfortable trap have just collapsed.
Completely. And that's where the anxiety comes from. Bjorn's argument is that because it was so stable for so long, a lot of developers, they stopped building their learning muscles.
They got out of shape.
Exactly. They got used to the status quo. Now suddenly the whole ecosystem is exploding. We've got the cloud, RAP, BTP, Fiori, and people are realizing they don't have a strategy to cope.
It's like trying to run a marathon after sitting on the couch for 10 years.
That's the perfect analogy. And it's not just about the shiny new stuff, is it? The source makes a great point that even established concepts,
Like object-oriented development or unit tests.
right, things that have been around for ages are still treated like some kind of alien technology by a surprising number of legacy developers.
And that's the danger zone.
That's the danger zone. If you're still writing procedural code like it's 2010, if you're ignoring automated testing, you're not just old school, you're becoming a liability.
So the mission for this deep dive is to unpack Bjorn's strategy. It's not just a list of links, it's more of a framework for how to filter all this noise and actually learn without burning out.
A roadmap out of the trap.
Let's get into the where, because that's always the first hurdle. If I wake up today and decide, okay, time to catch up, the sheer volume of information it's paralyzing.
It's a fire hose.
Bjorn breaks this down into two main buckets: the official channels and the community ecosystem. We have to start with the manufacturer, right? With SAP itself.
You have to go to the source. But even the mothership has kind of remodeled the house if you've been relying on the old open SAP courses.
Which were the gold standard for a long time.
They were. But you might have noticed things are shifting. The new center of gravity is learning.sap.com.
Okay, so is this just a rebrand, or is the philosophy actually different?
It's a structural shift. Learning.sap.com has basically absorbed the DNA of OpenSAP and modernized it. It's meant to be the central hub for everything.
Okay.
The key distinction, Bjorn notes, and this is important for your wallet, is the business model. There's a free tier, which is fantastic for just being curious. You can dive in, look at tutorials. But the official certifications, those are gated behind a paid tier now.
Which makes sense. Consultants need the badge to prove their worth to a client. But for the average developer in-house, the knowledge is still there.
For the most part, yes.
Yeah.
You can find traces of the old OpenSAP content, new learning journeys, but, and this is a really big caveat in the guide, you can't rely only on the official documentation.
Why not? I mean, they built the software. Surely they know best how it works.
They know how it's supposed to work.
Yeah.
And this leads us to the next official channel, the SAP community site.
Yeah.
It used to be this, I don't know, this wild, chaotic bazaar where people shared hack-together solutions and really weird workarounds.
The good stuff.
The good stuff. But our source makes a critical observation. Since SAP migrated the community platform, the dynamic has changed a lot.
Changed how?
It's become more corporate. Bjorn points out that SAP's official presence is very, very strong there now.
Which sounds good on paper.
It does. You get official answers.
Yeah.
But it tends to drown out the grassroots, in the trenches kind of content. You see fewer weird hacks I found at 2 a.m. posts and more official product updates.
That's a huge loss. If I'm debugging a weird error, I don't want a press release. I want to know how some person in Stuttgart fixed it 3 years ago.
And the source actually references Marian Zeiss here. If you don't follow him, you absolutely should. He's kind of the meta-analyst of the SAP world. He does these deep dives into the health of the community.
Analyzing activity levels, post quality, that sort of thing.
All of it. And his data suggests that if you want that raw, unfiltered developer talk, the official community site is struggling to provide that right now. It's becoming more of a broadcast channel than a conversation.
So if the official forums are getting sanitized, who are the humans we should be listening to? The source mentions champions and mentors.
Yeah.
Are these just marketing terms?
They're titles given by SAP, sure, but the people holding them are usually legit experts who've been vetted. SAP champions, SAP mentors. They're essentially influencers.
Okay.
Their value isn't just that they know the answers, it's that they act as filters.
You filter.
Yes. They're the ones who can tell you, hey, don't waste your time learning that specific tool is going to be deprecated next year. Focus on this instead.
That guidance is priceless when you're short on time.
It's worth its weight in gold. You find them on social media, at the big events.
Speaking of events, the calendar's always packed. But Bjorn narrows it down to the big three for the official scoop.
Right. You've got Tech Ed, the classic heavy hitter for deep technical content.
It's the main event.
Yep. Then the SAP Fiori Innovation Day, which is obviously very specific to UX and front end. And then there's Devtoberfest.
Devtoberfest is my favorite name of the bunch. It sounds like there should be pretzels involved.
Metaphorically, at least. It's a really strong annual touch point because it sort of gamifies the learning process. But again, these are all the official channels.
And if you stop there,
You're only seeing the happy path. You're seeing the software as SAP marketing wants you to see it. Clean, perfect, and bug-free.
and we all work in the real world where data is dirty, networks fail, and users are users.
So we need the unofficial channels,
Okay.
which takes us to the second part of the strategy, the community ecosystem.
This is where the real talk happens.
This is where the real education happens.
Yeah.
And it starts with the user groups.
Okay. Now, when I hear user group, I honestly picture people in a circle complaining about license fees.
And there's
Yeah.
definitely some of that.
Yeah.
But Bjorn emphasizes that groups like DSAG in the German-speaking world, or ASHAG in North America, or ASHAG in Australia, are critical for breaking what he calls the bubble effect.
The bubble effect, what's that?
It's when you only ever talk to your own team, or you only read SAP's documentation. You start to think your problems are unique.
Or worse, that your company's weird internal processes are industry standard.
Exactly. Because you've never seen anything else.
Yeah.
When you go to a user group, you're networking with other companies.
You get to peek over the fence.
Precisely. You might meet a developer from a totally different industry who's using the same tool you are, but in a way you never even considered.
Or they warn you off a cliff.
More likely. Hey, that best practice guide, it totally fails when you have more than 1 million records. That peer-to-peer warning system saves you weeks of work. It's about context, not just code.
The source also highlights a move towards grassroots events, things like Recap and ABAP Conf. They seem different from user groups.
They are. They're often free, usually online, and the barrier to entry is just lower. The key feature is that they are open. Anyone can contribute content.
So it's like open source knowledge sharing.
In a way.
Yeah.
It's where you see the bleeding edge. At TechEd, you see what SAP released yesterday. At ABA Conf, you see what developers are struggling with today. It's much more immediate and often a lot more honest about the rough edges of the tech.
Now we have to talk about the older generation comment in the source. Bjorn writes, a bit cheekily, for the older generation who do not yet get all their knowledge from TikTok, there is also a written form.
The humble blog.
But here's the problem, and I've felt this myself. Finding good independent blogs is hard now. Google's algorithm seems to bury them under SEO-optimized content farms.
It's a huge problem. The discovery engine for deep technical writing is broken. You can't just search ABA tutorial and expect to find the best new voice.
So what do you do?
This is why the source points to a specific curator. Enno at Tricktreasure.
Tricktreasure. That's German for Trick Vault, right?
Yes. And Enno does the hard work of curation for you. He publishes lists of active, regular bloggers. He's a human indexer. If you want that deep detail, the stuff that explains the why and not just the how you need these blogs. And since Google won't help you, Enno is your map.
And for the quick hits, the water cooler talk.
Social media. But even that is fragmenting. It used to just be Twitter. Now the community is kind of split across LinkedIn, Bluesky, and Mastodon.
Mastodon feels very fitting for developers, a bit clunky, federated, very technical.
It is. And the culture is different on each one. LinkedIn is for your polished career persona. Mastodon is where you go to vent about a syntax error or share a meme about a system dump.
Bjorn says that funny information about development is a valid learning source.
It is. Sometimes seeing a meme about a specific error makes you realize, oh, I am not the only one dealing with this. It validates the struggle.
Okay, but here's where we hit the wall.
Hmm.
We've just listed official sites, community forums, influencers, 3 major conferences, user groups, grassroots events, blog aggregators, and like 4 different social media platforms.
Yeah.
It's too much. If I have a 9-to-5 job and a family, I can't consume all of that. I'd be too busy reading about code to ever actually write any.
And that is the exact anxiety that Bjorn addresses next. He pivots from where to look to how to process it all.
A strategy.
A 4-step learning strategy. And honestly, I think this is the most valuable part of the whole document because it turns that fire hose into a manageable funnel.
Okay, let's walk through them.
Yeah.
Step 1, experience. Or as I'm thinking of it, the compass.
This is the most misunderstood step. Experience here doesn't mean go become an expert. It means situational awareness.
Just scanning the horizon.
Yes, you use the events, the buzzwords on LinkedIn, the keynotes, just to identify terms. Okay, everyone is saying RAP.
Right.
Everyone's talking about cloud. You don't need to know how to code it yet.
Yeah.
You just need to know it exists so you can put it on your personal radar.
That is a huge relief. I don't have to understand the syntax on day 1. I just need to file the name away.
Exactly. It prevents you from being blindsided in a meeting when someone says, should we use RAP for this? And you have to ask what RAP even is.
You just need enough context to say, I know what that is, let me look into it.
Okay, so once you've picked a blip from that radar that's relevant to you, you move to step 2, start. This is the overview.
The hello world phase.
Exactly. This is where you go back to learning.sap.com. You dive into the topic, you read the intro blogs, follow the basic tutorials. The goal here is just to get the mental model. How does this thing work? What are the moving parts?
But here's the trap within the trap. We've all been there. You do the tutorial, you copy-paste the code, you get the little green check mark, and you feel like a genius.
The tutorial high. It's dangerous.
And then you try to build something real at work and realize you learned absolutely nothing because the tutorial had 0 friction.
Which is why step 2 is not the end.
Yeah.
You absolutely have to move to step 3. Try. This is the deep dive part.
How does Bjorn define try versus start?
Try means you have to leave the safety of the provided example. He's very clear on this. You have to expand on the examples. Create your own scenarios. Try to break the tutorial.
He says, jump in at the deep end.
Yes. And if there's no information on a specific edge case you're thinking of, that's actually a good thing. Start there. That's where you hit reality. You move from just copying to engineering.
This is where you find out the library doesn't work with certain data types or the connection times out.
And this is where the real learning happens.
Yeah.
But I feel like 90% of developers stop at step 2. They take the course, get the cert, and think they know it.
And they flounder the second the requirements change.
But there's a final step,
Mm-hmm.
step 4. And it's the hardest one for a lot of us, introverted technical people.
Step 4. Show.
Mastery through production. Write it down. Create a short video. Do pair programming and explain it to a colleague.
It's the Feynman technique, isn't it? You don't truly understand something until you can explain it simply.
It's scientifically proven. When you have to structure your thoughts to teach someone else, you are forced to confront the gaps in your own knowledge. You realize, wait, I know that this works, but I don't actually know why.
So you haven't truly learned it until you've done this show phase?
According to this strategy, no.
Yeah.
And it's a loop, really. By showing your work, you're creating the content that someone else uses for their step 1.
You become part of the ecosystem we talked about at the beginning?
You stop being just a consumer, and you become a node in the network.
I want to circle back to something you mentioned, the difference between the tutorial and reality. The source has a whole section on practice and problems.
Right, the happy path problem again.
Sounds nice, the happy path.
It is nice, it's comfortable. In a tutorial, the data is perfect, the connection is stable, the user clicks the right button.
Real life has dirty data and users who do the most unpredictable things.
And Bjorn makes a really fascinating point here about problems. He reframes them. He asks, who really benefits from solving a problem?
And the obvious answer is the person who had the problem.
You'd think so. Thanks for fixing my bug. But he argues that the person who solves it, the helper, benefits even more.
Because they had to do the mental gymnastics to figure it out.
Precisely. If I come to you with a weird bug, you have to reverse engineer my confusion. You have to understand why it broke. That diagnostic process builds deeper neural pathways than just building it correctly the first time.
So problems aren't roadblocks, they're learning accelerators.
That is a fantastic way to put it. Every error message is a chance to understand the system on a level the manual could never explain. If you're avoiding problems, you're actively stunting your own growth.
You're staying in that comfortable trap.
This connects directly to that sidebar in the source about the transformation of the ABAP developer. It's a shift in identity. The old role was static. I write reports based on specs.
The new role is dynamic.
It's, I am a researcher, a problem solver, and a teacher. You're not just a coder anymore. You're a strategist.
And that brings us back to actually executing this. You can't just binge learn once a year before a conference.
No. Bjorn jokes about his own posting schedule Tuesdays and Fridays. But the point is consistency, right?
Absolutely.
It is so much better to have a handful of sources, check Enno's blog list, check LinkedIn, and just do it for 15 minutes twice a week, rather than trying to absorb all of Tech Ed in one weekend.
It's the difference between going to the gym regularly versus running a marathon once a year with no training.
And getting injured. Or in this case, burning out and deciding, you know what, the cloud is too complicated, I'm sticking to SE38. That's how people become obsolete.
So let's bring this all together. If you're listening and you feel like the ABAP world is moving way too fast, just take a breath. You don't need to know it all today.
No. Start with the compass, use the official channels just to see what's coming, then plug into the community, join a user group, find those independent blogs to get the reality check.
And then apply the 4 steps. Scan for buzzwords, that's experience. Do the tutorial, that's start.
Break the tutorial, that's try. And then teach it to someone, that's show.
It's a solid roadmap. It turns that anxiety of missing out into a repeatable, manageable process. It gives you control back.
Yep.
I want to leave everyone listening with a challenge based on that 4th step.
The show step.
Yes. We often consume these deep dives, we nod along, and then we just go back to our email. But if you really want to lock this strategy in, go teach something you learned today to a colleague.
Just one thing.
Just one thing. Go tell a coworker about the bubble effect, or explain to them why happy path tutorials are kind of dangerous, or just show them Enno's blog list.
By verbalizing it, you're proving Bjorn's point.
Yeah.
You're moving from a consumer of information to a master of it.
And frankly, are you really an expert if you can't explain what you do to the person sitting next to you?
That's the question. And doing that might just help someone else escape that comfortable trap.
Which just makes the whole community stronger.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Thanks for walking us through this survival guide.
My pleasure. And to everyone listening, good luck with your learning journey. We'll see you in the next deep dive.